Hello, everyone. Trying to get my setup going here. I want to share these on my podcast or my YouTube channel, but Instagram doesn't let you save the recordings anymore. Hey, I think one of the hardest things for me is to try to pronounce people's Instagram handles. Yesh. Hello. Welcome to another human design Q&A. Jonah Projector fam. Yes, our projector fams are so important. I still need to talk about the Human Design Conference when I was in a room with 35 projectors. That was insane. Welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing this morning? What day is it? Tuesday. Yeah, we're freaking cray. uh, Nicole was there. You were there? Who are you? How am I feeling? I always feel weird when I do lives. The expectation is always high, and then I just get to witness my mind go kind of crazy. So it usually takes like 10 or 15 minutes to get into a nice flow. But honestly, in the beginning, I'm always like a bit nervous or yeah, I don't know, antsy. Tell us, how was a room with projectors? It was comical. It was, I've never been with that many people and felt that much space before. Or one splinter projector. Oh. Love to hear how it was for you, Nicole. It was like everyone's attention was in the same spot. So like everybody knew where the conversation was going. Everybody knew whose turn it was to express. Like everyone's awareness and attention was like um, in sync. It was really bizarre to witness. But also when you spoke, like you felt very heard, like you felt very seen by every single person in that room. No one talked over each other. um no one yeah, no one stepped over each other. It was fascinating. It was really fascinating. Yeah, I should get a couple people from that group and then do a maybe just a live or a podcast episode and chat about it, because I did get also some very uh wild insights, like how important it is for projectors to have other projectors in their life. We're so misunderstood, and that's one thing I tell all projector readings I do and all projectors I meet in my life who are going through something, which we all are. But I always say, like, hey, we're a non-energy type. 80% of people are energy types, so therefore 80% of the people in your life aren't going to understand what it feels like to be you. They just can't. We can absorb energy, but they can't get rid of their energy to feel like what it's like to be a projector, because they have the defined sacral or they have a motor to the throat. So uh, that's one thing that's still hard for me, but I think about all the time, is like, hey, I'm just going to be misunderstood, or I'm just not like, viscerally, people aren't going to feel like what it feels like to be a projector unless you're a projector. So I still have lots of generator envy. I still have lots of manifestor envy, and we can find those periods of generating and manifesting. But yeah, when we're in our need for rest, it can be confusing. So just being in that room with 35 other people who they feel the same. They have the same experience of life. Just talking with each other was super healing. And the things people talk about are just hilarious because you resonate so deeply with it. So, it's important to have those people in your life that just get you. And when you're a projector with another projector, there's an understanding of what this life has been like, which, projectors, me growing up, was difficult, confusing. So hello to my projectors. If you're on here and you're a projector, I see you. Nicole, did you want to share anything about being in that room? And then the funny thing was we then split up into different penta groups. So in human design, a penta is like 3 to 5 people. We take on this new transauric form, kind of this new aura. And I was in the group of all 2551s, so all ego, defined egos. It was really funny. Projectors get each other. Yeah, we do. Is that where fear of being seen is? No motor to the throat. I don't think so. I think all projectors want to be seen. We all want to we want to be recognized for who we are and appreciated and seen for not being a generator. I think all humans have a fear of being seen. I think that just comes from rejection and your authentic self not being accepted. But I know so many manifestors who have a real fear of being seen. And they control the throat. They all have a motor to the throat. So they don't really have an easy road because they're built for expression. They're built for manifestation. And if it's not authentic, that's where we run into problems. So manifestors are really like, they got to be bold and brave and authentically express themselves, or else they're going to have issues. Where projectors, sometimes we're kind of meant to fly under the radar. Sometimes we're not recognized, and that's okay. People don't see us, and we're not for everybody. Whereas the manifestor, they kind of got to be on that on that stage. All right, let's see what Nicole says. Okay, I asked Nicole about her experience in that group of all projectors. She says, yes. I said, there was such a calming energy, no buzz, especially coming from all the talks with MGs. Yeah, there wasn't much buzz in the room, huh? It was more like a secret society feel. It was like a very, under the radar, just like a coolness in there. I don't know how to explain it. No buzz. That's a good way to explain it. Vanessa joined. Hello, Vanessa. How are you? I am well. Excited for tomorrow. What's up, Ricardo? Yeah, Ricardo says most of the time I would say it's not really fear of not being seen, but fear of not being accepted for who you are. Exactly. Yeah. I could go live with Nicole. Hi. Me and Vanessa are recording a very special podcast episode tomorrow. Super excited. Yeah, back to Ricardo's point. That's the funny thing we say about the not self. When you look at your design, what is colored in is really who you are. There's no choice in that. We're kind of gifted this design. That's the hand we have to play. But when it comes to the not self and who we're not, that's where we can really pick. We can really change the way we express ourselves. Like there's an infinite possibility of not self. Like we can always be reinventing our not self. Who we are is just fixed within us. So there's like one expression of who we are, and if that is rejected, then it's like, okay, where do you go from there? But if you're pretending, and if the way you're acting and the way you're being isn't really you, when that gets rejected, you're like, okay, I'm just going to tweak myself and I'll be a little bit better, or I'll be a little bit different. So that was a really cool insight for me, was like, oh yeah, I can always pick my not self, but I can't pick who I am. Like I was imprinted with who I am. So I lived a lot of my life pretending and just choosing a different version, and um, fix my weaknesses, which doesn't work like that. It's lean into your strengths, lean into what's natural for you. So, and Nicole is too shy, so we're not gonna go live together. No problem, Nicole. Thanks for sharing your insights into the projector group anyways. It was so serene. Yeah. It was really special. At that conference, you had to like RSVP and like sign up for events. And that was one of them that I really wanted to go to, but I was giving some talks as well, so I didn't know if it was going to overlap. So I had not RSVP'd, and I was like, I'm not going to not go because I didn't RSVP. I'm just going to show up. So I just showed up, and it was yeah, definitely meant to be. And I did feel that there was an invitation there, all projectors. But also another insight we had was like, at the whole conference, there was a lot of buzz and people talking about like what's going on in this projectors only group, because it doesn't happen very often. So then we realized like, oh, as projectors, we're here to be recognized and help guide the energy of the other types, specifically generators. And if we're looking for that recognition, if I'm wanting an invitation and I want to guide someone because I see something, but I'm not invited, it doesn't work. So how do we get more invitations? And it was like, ooh, when projectors come together, just projectors, it's magic stuff happens, and it created kind of a I don't want to say buzz because that's like the generator word, but it created kind of like a lot of interest, and a lot of recognition from other people. What's up, Eric? So that was cool. It's like projectors, when we get together, maybe we increase our magnetism. Yeah, Nicole is agreeing. She says, "Laugh out loud." Yes, magnetism. Yeah, yeah. It's funny in my yeah, it's funny in my experience because I'm whatever it is about my design, Ra always talked about like, if you want to make a living in human design, you can do that off of generators because they're the vast majority of people and they just want to hear about themselves, which is, it was a joke, but it's true. And like the majority of my work has been with manifestors, which, if you know about the manifestor type, they don't like being told what to do. You have to guide in a very, very different way. But that's just what I've attracted. And even like projectors, like I've done, I want to start doing more projector work. But so much of my focus has been on manifestors. So just a funny thing to see. Yeah. What's up, Sasha? Sasha says that makes sense. We magnify energy for sure. Ricardo says the frequency of recognition from each other create that magnetism, I feel. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, huh, Ricardo? We really like one-on-one with a projector. It's there's nothing like it. Um, yeah, there's really nothing like it. It's we go deep and we go to some really cool places, and we have a lot of insights. The projector, the biggest projector blind spot is ourselves, because our aura is focused and penetrating on other people. So our question is, who are you? So we're always looking out at others. And so, that leaves this blind spot of, who am I miss myself a lot of the times. More and more, I'm really starting to see it through the eyes of other people and through my impact on clients and friends and just the people in my life. But when you get with another projector, there's this really special recognition of each other. And it's almost like you get that aura turned back on you. And it can be very healing and very illuminating at the same time. And probably, very magnetic. It's like two magnifying glasses pointing at each other. What happens when that happens? I don't know. All right. Do you guys have any questions about your design, or we can just keep chatting? This is cool too. I feel like a lot of people on this live, we know our human design stuff, which is that's awesome. Good company. But if anybody has any questions or needs any guidance, you're more than welcome to ask. All right. Threads to the Self says, being a projector, understanding manifestors is the most challenging from types for me. Yeah, they're hard to read. Manifestors are really, really hard to read. I think what I've really learned with manifestors, first of all, like, guiding is so nuanced. For a projector, we guide emotional people differently. We guide generators differently. We guide, there's each. We're really here to understand that each design is so unique, and each person needs to be guided in a slightly different way. And I think that I have the 4426, the transmitter. I think that's the real wisdom of that channel, is how to tailor your guidance and transmission to a way that it's really going to land for them. And what I've really learned with manifestors is just they require so much space. If they even want guidance. So you really, I really have to completely stand back. Not like I can control my aura, but I can tweak it so it's not as intense, I guess. And they really have to come to their own realization. I don't just tell them things. It's really like creating a safe space for them to exist, and making sure that my aura is just out of the way, and can gently guide. You think about how independent the manifestor is, and you think they require fire back to guide them, but I think it's actually the opposite. I think the manifestor actually needs the most care and the most they need softness. They need to be oh God, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words, but they need a lot of care when guiding. So yeah, it's been fascinating. But if you're not, in the beginning, I didn't really know how to do that. Now that I've had so much experience, I'm learning how to do it better. And then I'm able to really see them and read them more. But in the beginning, they can be very hard to read. All right. Projector here with a manifestor husband. Congratulations. I mean, there isn't one that's better than others, but yeah, I think projector manifestor relationships can be just really amazing. I love that. Vanessa Henry, who is a beautiful manifestor, says, manifestors are big wounded children. We need the love you would extend a child. It's so hard because they, you do come across so independent, just that having that impactful aura. You're like, oh, they don't need anything, but yeah, we all do. And they really do. So I think that's why it's so hard to read, because they have this, you know, big, strong aura, that's hard to see behind. Hmm. All right, let's get to some questions here. Human Design Seer says, what's one of your favorite mistakes lately? Ooh. Hmm. I've been talking a big game on my Instagram posts, haven't I? Let's see. What's a mistake I've made lately? Oh, that's such a hard question because I feel like I fuck things up all the time. Uh, Let me think about that one. I honestly have like nothing really exciting coming to my mind right now. All right. Ask me that one again in a bit, and I'll see if anything's come up. All right. Doing Life Better asks, I so need help to understand gate 51. I have it in my conscious sun, Mercury, and Venus. Any guidance there, please? I'm a 5-1. Gate 51. Shocked. Um, there's a competitive energy to gate 51. It's called the arousing. I'm a 2551, so I know the whole channel, but yeah, 51, it's the only gate in the ego that's individual. All the other gates are very tribal. So it's very much about, going through shocking experiences that are going to take you to seeing yourself in a different way. It connects to this gate of universal love, love of all things. Um, so for me, I've really experienced it as like I've been initiated into things in my life in a very shocking way. Do you have a defined ego or an undefined ego? Out of curiosity. But this is like yeah, any of these ego gates, this is such a there's just power there. Um, but it really depends on like how you're using it. Like, is it healthy or unhealthy? And that's the thing I love about the ego in human design is like ego is not a bad word, but we can have like a very unhealthy ego or we can have a very healthy ego. And I feel like the unhealthy ego is like, you know, typically like all about me. It can be manipulative and getting what it wants. And then a healthy ego is like, no, I really want to use my willpower for my tribe. Like, I really want to gather people together. I really want to show people how amazing they are. And I really want to commit to something um, that's going to, empower me and everyone that I know, like all the people that I love. And I think me and Vanessa were talking about like, Vanessa, what's the word you use for the ego? Because it's not commitment, because we think about like generators commit their energy. That's in the coming out of the sacral center. It's like devotion, I think, is the word we were using for the ego. Um, Something like that. Mm. Yeah, lots of manifestor comments. Agree. All right. Ricardo says, I'm a 1-3 also. You talked about the trying, experimenting, and reporting back, but who to report back and how? And maybe how to make a living about that. Would love to hear your thoughts. Um, yeah, really, whoever invites you or whoever wants to listen, I think for projectors, it's so important to ask yourself, like, can I be seen? You know, am I putting myself out there? A lot of times projectors think like I can't, I need to be invited to put myself out there. That's not true. Live your life, start an Instagram or a website or whatever. We can still create things and start things as projectors. But we really have to put ourselves out there. And especially as a 1-3, um, I just come on here and talk. I don't necessarily have a personal invitation all the time. When I do my readings, of course, and teach my courses. Um, but as a projector, ask yourself, am I putting myself out there so that I can be seen? And the more people that can see you, the more invitations you can get. The more people are going to recognize, like, oh wow, he's got something to offer me. So don't think you need a specific person to share things with. Go ahead and put yourself out there and speak into the void. And you never know who's going to hear it and be like, oh, that's really interesting. So I just, as a 1-3, the more vulnerable I can be about my mistakes and about the things that haven't worked for me in my life, the more people recognize that I know what works and that I know something. Projectors, we have to know something. We have to be aware of something. We're here for our awareness. And I think a lot of 1-3s get caught up in like only focusing on, okay, I went through a lot of shit in my life. Now I know a lot because we do, and we've learned through experience and study and trial and error. But if we don't really connect it back to the struggles, it can fall flat. And people connect to struggle way more than they do with this enlightened speak about what works. That's like, okay, am I going to believe in this? But if someone tells me they're crazy experiences of things that they went through in their life, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I resonate with this person because wow, they're being honest about all the crap that they've gone through. So to make a living as a projector, you have to sharpen your awareness. And the 1-3 we learn through trial and error, and we learn through experience. So I think that's another good point about being a projector is, we have to cultivate our awareness. We have to see something differently. We have to see something uniquely that provides value to people, or else we are just that annoying little child that's like, look at me, give me attention, give me recognition. And it's like, I don't really have anything to offer you because I'm not a generator. I'm not going to be a good, hard, consistent worker for you. I'm not a manifestor. I'm not going to impact you with my energy. So projectors, we have to get smart. We have to use our intellect. We have to figure things out. And we have to figure things out in a way that is going to bring value to others. And that's what we get paid for. And that's why now I'm starting on my Instagram. Like there's a new subscription model that they just, I think they launched like a little while ago. But you needed a certain amount of followers. I don't have enough followers for it, but for some reason they emailed me and said, hey, you can use this on your Instagram now. So it's this subscription thing. It's $5 a month for people to subscribe. And then what am I getting paid for? It's my awareness, it's my transmission, it's my intellect, it's the things that I have figured out about this system that can then empower other people and can support other people in their awakening and their self-love journey. But that's what projectors are here to get paid for. And it's so hard for me to ask for that because society doesn't say like that's worth anything. Instagram's a free platform. Like everyone's just cranking out content. And if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, it's a lot easier to keep cranking content. If you're a projector, we're limited in our energetic output. So I think it's still hard for me to ask or ask to be paid for my transmission of information and my insight and my awareness. So that's something that I'm working on more, but that's what we're here to get paid for as projectors. And the deeper my awareness gets, and the more realizations that I have, and the clearer I see things in a unique way, the more attention I get, the more recognition I get, the more invitations I get, and the more money I get. So I think that's hard for a projector to even imagine that you could get paid for what you see, because we're not taught that. And I've luckily experienced it, and so I know that it exists, but it's not unless you're a therapist or you're like a guidance counselor, or there's like a few things where that's the case, but there's not many. And we're all here to do it our own way, and you're all here to see in our unique way. So if you're not excited about what you see as a projector, if you're not like, oh my God, this is so crazy, or this is so interesting, other people aren't gonna feel that way about you. So get curious in this life and what you're studying, and people will pay you for it. But you got to put yourself out there, and you got to ask, or not even ask, but just like, put it out there that, hey, you can pay me for this. I have a link to get tips, or buy me the coffee, or all those things that they have out there. It's very uncomfortable still for me. All right, that was a rant. Thanks for all your comments, Ricardo. I like your questions and your insights. All right. La Lila, I think, says, curious about 3-5 projector and what the 5th gift is all about. Yeah, the 5. The 3-5. The 3-5 is such a fascinating profile. We have these two numbers. The first one comes from our personality. The second one comes from the body, the unconscious, the design. And the funny thing is, like, the majority of profiles, there is this like dissonance between the two. So there's like, how do we balance these roles? How do we reconcile the differences? The best example is like the 2-4. The 2 is the hermit, the 4 is the networker. It's like the introverted extrovert, and there's like a balance to be had. 3-5 is fascinating because the 5 is the heretic, and the 5 lives in this projection field where people are going to think like, oh wow, this is the person that's going to help me with a problem I have, or provide a practical solution to something. So these projections always typically start positive, of like, you're going to be the girl, or you're going to be the guy, and it could be a complete miss. But then the 3 is all about making mistakes and trial and error and learning the hard way. So it's like, how do we balance this? Like, I need to be perfect, and I need to fulfill these expectations, but also I need to trial and error, and I need to make mistakes. So you can see where the dilemmas lie in that one. For the 5, I think the most important thing for the 5 is to really use your strategy and authority in what projections you're going to fill for people. 5s can get really caught up in like, I'm going to fulfill everyone's expectations, and they get really good at like putting on a song and dance, or putting on a face that people want to see, because there's recognition there, or it feels good, or you're people pleasing, or whatever it is. So the true gift of the 5 is like being the heretic, and like universalizing your experiences and your wisdom. So you're going to attract those opportunities to do that. But you really have to make sure that it's the right call for you, make sure that it's the right opportunity. or else you're gonna you can get stuck in a place that you don't want to be, or you can find yourself fulfilling expectations that don't light you up, that don't feel good for you. So yeah, the 5 is it's a tricky one. All right, let's see. I don't know about that. All right. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. When I get a question and I go on a rant, it stops my comment, so then I gotta just start scrolling. All right. Yeah, Sasha says that was helpful to hear, so much to sit with when it comes to career and receiving money. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think as a projector, just getting past this mindset that hard work equals money and that's the only possibility, like getting past that, I think is really difficult, but it opens up flow when it comes to money. Um, and starting to realize like I can get paid for what I see. Um, it helps. And there's so many different ways to do it. When I've had so many different jobs in my life, and I struggled financially for so long. I don't have a ton of money, but I'm not working in the restaurant business anymore. Whew. I was a waiter on and off for like 10 years, and I did a service industry and projectors podcast episode. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's awesome. Um, but the first thing that I started doing was people started to invite me to give them a surf lesson. And I'd I never wanted to do surf lessons, but I was like, okay, whatever, fine. And I didn't charge very much because I had zero self-worth and I didn't think, um, it was worth anything. Uh, and then that business over the years started to just snowball, and that became my main source of income. And I started charging a lot of money for surf lessons. But what did it, it's teaching, and it's guiding. And, I've had people break down in the water, and it's like most of my surf lessons are really like therapy sessions with a surfing component to it, because people just open up to me. People just open up to projectors. So there's so many ways that we can be paid for our guidance, and be paid for the things that we see. We really just have to believe in ourselves, and we really just have to make sure that we really, really love the thing that we're doing. But get creative. Like, we're so creative. Projectors out of any type have the biggest capacity for intellect, because we're really here to use that awareness. And so we really need to think outside of the box, and we really need to get out of this energy game, which is so hard because our upbringing and the conditioning of this world is for energy types and is for generators. So we kind of have to like really, really be courageous and like, I'm going to do it my own way. And I see a lot of projectors, and myself included, that we go back and forth. It's like we can pull away a little bit and it feels good and we made a little bit of money, but now we're like back into like, this isn't going to work. I got to go back and do it the generator way. It's like, oh God, it's so hard and it takes so much courage to say, fuck it all. I'm going to be um, doing life my own way, and really confidently standing in the possibility that that can work for you. And if we don't believe it can work, then it's not going to work. And so I see so many projectors go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Again, myself included in that. All right. I'm an emotional projector 2.5, channels 1.8 and 731. I have never seen myself as a leader. I'm curious about those channels. Wow. Thank you for the question. So both of these channels are going from the G center to the throat. They're both leadership channels. Um, it's and you're a projector, okay. Leadership and being a projector, interesting topic, right? I have the 2551, the channel of initiation, and I'm a projector, and the channel of a transmitter, and I'm a projector. So there's like, I think when we first come to human design, you know, we don't really know what a projector is. We hear the things, we hear the keynotes, but then we kind of take it too far and we think we can't lead, or we think we can't ever initiate, which isn't true. Um, First of all, I like to just look at, okay, what centers are the channels connecting? Because the channel is really saying what centers are talking to each other. And if you can think of, okay, well, what centers are talking to each other, then you can start to understand what the frequency is. You know, what does it mean? You don't have to even know the keynotes of the channel, but you're like, okay, G center, identity, love, direction, throat, manifestation, communication, action. Okay, what does that mean that they're connected? You're here to manifest consistently your identity, your direction, you know, your creativity, your leadership. But bring it back to being a projector. We have to be invited to step into those roles. So what do you have to provide? You know, who are you that someone's gonna say, hey, you know, we want you as the leader. And the 731, this channel of the alpha, the funny keynote is like, you know, the best leaders are those who are reluctant to lead, and the ones that are elected by the community, and not necessarily the one that's like the dictator, you know, saying like, here's how I'm going to lead, everybody follow me. So, you know, being a reluctant leader is the best kind of leader. Um, so this is like, yeah, and the 1.8, you know, the 1.8 attracts a lot of attention, you know, the design of a creative role model. So you're here to be that inspiration for people. But these, I think, uh, again, about courage, these channels take so much courage, because if you're not 100% authentic in your identity, that G center, you're not expressing how weird and how unique and how you know, how different you are, it's not going to attract the recognition. It's not going to attract that attention. So I work, you know, some of my favorite people are self-projected projectors, because when they finally unleash and they let go of caring what other people think or about rejection, and they really just let it out, it's such a clear, unique, inspiring, attractive frequency that comes out of your mouth, that of course it elicits leadership. You know, it's like, yes, I want to, you know, who you are and where you're going, and you don't give a f about what people think. Like, wow, this is so inspiring and so attractive, and I really look up to you. So the key with these channels is like, oof, you got to have the courage to let your freak flag fly. You know, you've got to have the courage to you know, go your own direction and let out that unique creativity that lives within you, that's going to be different than everybody else. That 1.8 is all about, you know, you're here to stand apart. You're here to look different than other people. You're here to have a different style. You're here to, yeah, really just stand out from the crowd, which is scary in society, and especially being a projector too. All right, rant over. Thanks for that question. Let me know if that resonates with you, or if you want to say anything more about not seeing yourself as a leader. I'd like to hear that too. All right, let's see. Ooh, I think I'm going to like this one. I've had 4 readings, but never left feeling empowered. Should I wait to get invited for a reading for it to be really successful? 4-6 projector, 18, 17, 52, 58 with generator jealousy. Yeah, I call it the generator envy. God, I've been having that. I've been having that lately, especially the manifesting generators in my life. Okay, I've had 4 readings, but never left feeling empowered. Caveat, they weren't 4 readings with me. I would ask you, what are you looking for out of a reading? People, when they work with me, it's really funny because I don't tell you who you are. I don't tell you what your purpose is. I don't even spend much time on your definition. I go over it and quickly can keynote and maybe give you a empowered sense of who you could be. Um, but that's not how you empower people. I'm a 1-3. I think 1-3s are like the not self killer because I know what didn't work in my life, and it was trying to be who I wasn't, which was just living a normal not self life. So most of my focus is on what's not working in your life and then showing you where that comes from in your design and how to recognize it. Not how to get rid of it, because we don't get rid of it, but how to really laugh at the insanity of trying to be who you're not. Um, so, mine's all about like, can we really identify the voice of the not self and the ways it's getting in your way? And then once we identify it, you just get sick of it after a while because you start to realize all these decisions you've been making in your life are just, trying to make up for insecurities or incompetence or, things that are inconsistent. And then it just gets really fucking boring. And I'm just like, oh, okay, am I going to beat myself up again? Am I going to hate myself again? Am I going to tell myself I'm lazy again? Like, oh, I'm so sick of that voice. And I know it comes from my open sacral. So it's just like, it gets so boring. Um, and I think that's the most empowering thing, to be able to laugh at ourselves and the ridiculousness of the not self and the mind. But I don't know what your channel is going to do or how it's going to express itself. Nobody does. If someone starts telling you what your purpose is, like, get away from that person. We can say, hey, here's what the channels say. Here's what the keynotes say. But no one told me what my ego was going to be like. I had to feel it, and you only feel it once you get out of those open centers, once you get out of your not self. So I think if you're looking for someone to tell you what your purpose is or tell you, how you're supposed to express yourself, no one can ever do that for you. And you can go read about it anyways. I always tell people, I get the book, go read about your gates if you really want to know. That's going to be articulated in a nice way. So you can go read about your gates and your channels and all that kind of stuff. I don't really care about that. I really care about like attacking your not self, which is really what left me feeling empowered. So if you want to say more about the ratings you've had, I really love to hear about it. That one made me laugh. All right. Okay. Ray says, ooh, 5-1. I feel that. How does it change when it's in your personality line versus your design line? So when you're looking at profile, the personality line is something you're going to resonate to. It's kind of like how you see yourself. You kind of you can consciously understand it. It's on the body side. You may just be a little less aware of that it's going on, you know, or why people are why people have these expectations of you. I think like when it's on the personality side, maybe it's like easier to play the game and to realize like, okay, people want things from me. This is how it's going to go. Like, okay, now let me do my thing, or let me fill these expectations. Maybe the five on the unconscious, the body side, might be a little more like skeptical of like, why do people want things from me? I don't know. Just thinking out loud here. But typically on the body, it's more of it's like in your blood. It's more of like a physical thing. For me, being a 1-3, it's really interesting to notice the bonds made and broken theme in my life, because my one wants to establish a solid foundation. I know I'm an investigator. I know I could read a instruction manual. I know I like to dive deep. I know I can't skim a book. You know, I got to read every word. So that I'm like very aware of. But when it comes to this bonds made and broken thing, especially in relationships, that I never understood why that was there, but I felt it deeply. You know, the emotional resonance of the 3 is an acceptance and rejection. So I could literally feel my body rejecting people that I needed a break from, but I didn't consciously understand why that was there. So I hope that helps. All right, let's see. Drinking the sparkling iced Americano this morning, and I'm like feeling pretty wired already. They say projectors aren't really supposed to drink a lot of coffee. I go through phases. Okay, next question. Aristella, hello. I've been really enjoying connecting with you recently. What is the energy of the gate 41 for the new year? I found out that it is connecting with my personality sun in gate 30. Ooh, awesome. So you're hooked up now. I don't know if you're open or defined emotionally, but either way, you're defined right now. Yeah, gate 41 is a really cool gate. That's the most fucking generic thing I could have said. So gate 41, there's a keynote of fantasy. It's this gate of decrease. But really it's the start of the human experiential way. And human design, the coolest part of the body graph is that we can really see it tells a story. You go from gate to gate, but it always starts somewhere, and then the story unfolds as you go through these different streams. So it's really cool. So gate 41 holds within it every possible experience that we can have as a human is held in this gate 41. When we look at it in terms of sexuality, this is the Kundalini stream of sexuality, and this like gate of love. 41 in the root center is under a lot of pressure, and the pressure that the 41 wants to utilize that pressure by having an emotional experience, typically with another human being. So 41 wants to feel something like really bad, and this is where fantasy comes from. These are people who can be really big dreamers, or have these big fantasies. So this is why we celebrate the new year when the sun moves into gate 41, because this kicks off a whole new beginning. It's like letting go of the past. Let's have a new experience. Let's start this journey of being a human, and let's go out and feel something. Let's dream big. Let's desire something. So then that energy gets up to gate 30, and gate 30 is the gate of the fates, which is kind of a funny gate because it says like, oh, no matter what your fantasy is, it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. we're going to throw a curveball, and then you're going to have to go through something to learn a lesson. This is kind of like if you think of expectation can be a real killer of this emotional stream. So to enter into something just, without any expectation, to see how it's going to go and then learn it at the end. So it's a super fun gate, especially when we talk about sexuality and relationships. But it's this let's go out and feel something. Let's have a new experience. Okay, I have to read this one. Typical camper. Hello, it's been fun chatting with you recently too. Says, I'm a 3-5 splenic projector too, and just had this talk with a friend today. Also funny about the 5 is that often when you get pushed off of the pedestal, so I'm guessing when you don't fulfill exactly the expectation that someone wanted you to, or in the way they wanted you to fulfill it, it's because the other holds back info. Tell me more about that. That's funny. I could see that. Right. All right. Human design seer says, any tips on finding your projector system to master, or focusing and choosing which system? No, I have no tips. I can just tell you, that's one of the hardest questions I get is like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to focus on? It's got to come from like a pure love inside of you. And you can kind of look to your profile on maybe like how opportunities are going to come to you. Like I'm a 1-3. I bump into shit. I found human design on a Bumble date. And the second I got a free report and I read the first paragraph, it just hit me like it just opened up a whole new world for me. And I was obsessed instantly. I was just like in love instantly. And I just knew, but I told myself, and this is where the mind gets involved. I will never do a reading. I will never teach it. I will never publicly even talk about it. That's the first thing my mind said, was like, this is cool, but I'm not this person. And this isn't for me. And then fast forward here 4 years later, and it's my whole life now and my career and what I really love. So I would just again attack the not self, learn your not self, because it's probably the thing that's getting in the way of you even being able to see what that thing is for you. Or maybe it's already in your life and you're just not allowing the time and the focus that you need to cultivate the awareness that's going to attract the invitations for you. So it's such a hard question for me because I can't know what you love. You know what you love. My mind still says like, dude, human design is like, it's getting better, but it's still like, this is weird. Like this isn't the normal path you were supposed to take. Like it's still very loud, but when I'm doing it, there's just an aliveness that comes out of me. And I'm like, I can fucking do this forever. So you don't really necessarily have to go searching for it. In my case, as a 1-3, it just hit me over the head, and here I am. So it just unfolded naturally. but just to really make sure that it's not the not self that's holding you back or keeping you from pursuing something that you love, because it's going to say, you're not going to make any money at this. This doesn't make sense for your life. People are going to think you're weird. There's so many things that our mind does that keeps us from pursuing our passion. So it's not a mental decision you're going to make. It's not something you're going to have to go find. It's going to be a passion in your life. That's just like, I would do this even if I wasn't paid for it, So our aura as projectors is focused and penetrating. We're designed to be looking out. We're designed to be seeing things deeper, so there's something out there for all of us where we're just like fascinated, but it's going to be out there. So if you're not interested in your life, good luck finding it. Just get interested. Start getting interested in anything and everything. And it'll come find you. But it's really about, again, getting out of the not self, recognizing the not self, and then allowing whatever it is, however weird it is, however unrealistic it is. This is so unrealistic for me to be doing this. It's so unrealistic. So I find like that, I hate that fucking word. I hate it so much because we all live in our own reality. So I hope that helped. But I can't tell you, and no one's going to tell you. So don't go looking for that. But human design can help because it's about trusting the body. And my body is obviously alive when I do this. Thank you for that question. Yeah. Also have those channels. Weirdos unite. Yes, weirdos unite. Sasha has the 1-8, the 43-23, and is a 6-2. We need to hang out. Where are you? Are you here now? One thing with like individual channels, so there's different circuitry in the body graph, which I think is one of my favorite things to look at and to keynote, because it does provide so much great information without having to get too detailed. So anytime you have something in individual circuitry, individuals naturally stand out, but they naturally also don't fit in to the collective. Individuals are here to mutate. They're here to bring a change. They're here to bring empowerment, an inspiration through being different or seeing things in a different way or creating in a different way. So there is a lot of, it takes a lot of courage to live our designs, but if you're a pure individual, it takes more courage to really stand out and really own that you're different, because initially it's like, and if you're a projector, a lot of times people aren't going to want it if you're not invited. So to be able to like stand alone as an individual and as a weirdo, it's tough. I always tell people, like, if you want to do the human design experiment, it's really an invitation to be a weirdo, because we're all weirdos. The only normal people are the ones that are living their not self. That's what's normal. We all hate our jobs. Let's go have a beer and talk about how we hate our job. We're all depressed. We all have the same illnesses. We're all tired. We're all like, the normal collective is so boring, but there is also a comfort in relating to people who are going through the same thing. So if we're all not self, we're going to all be going through the same shit. And that feels good in a sick way. If we're all different and we're all living our designs, like, the chances of agreeing with somebody are way less. we're meant to disagree, and we think that's an uncomfortable thing, instead of realizing like it's a very empowering, inspiring thing to get a different point of view. So yeah, having a purely individual design is it all takes courage, but that takes a little extra. All right, let's see. I'm looking for not being bitter about my design. I don't see much positive about it, especially. Oh, okay, okay. This is going back. She's answering a question of what are you looking for in these readings? You've had 4 readings, and she says, "I'm looking for not being bitter about my design. I don't see much positive about it, especially being surrounded by powerful MGs. Yes, it's an annoying mind game." I don't even know where to start. First of all, thank you for sharing. I'm loving this. Um, I'm so bitter about my design still. I, it's it's less and less, but it will always be there. And I think our not self themes, the bitterness, it's such a great tool to use of like when I'm out of alignment. I'm not going to live a life all in alignment all the time. I'm not a enlightened person. Um, but I totally understand where you're at. And the funny thing for me was I hit a rock bottom. I had nothing to lose. My body was literally like so sick. I had like autoimmune stuff, gut issues, like I was grinding it out. Like I was so pretending. And so I kind of like hit a rock bottom where I'm like, I can't live this way anymore. So when I found out I was a projector a few months after that rock bottom, I was like, yeah, I know this. This is fucking amazing. Finally, somebody sees me and I feel really good about it. But I've heard of so many projectors who find out they're a projector and they're like, fuck this system. Like, I'm not a projector. I'm going to go do the generator thing. So I kind of got lucky, as in, being already at a bottom with nothing to lose, and then trying it the projector way and seeing it work very quickly for me. And now I'm like, thank God I'm a projector. Now I kind of take that back. I'm not really bitter about my design anymore. I still get bitter in my life. Um, but I think I have the best design. I just do. And it could be the defined ego, or just because I've experienced success now. But I'm just like, oh, I look at my design, I'm like, yeah, I'm so lucky to have this design. I'm the best. Um, and again, I'll hit, broken freaking record, but I just had to get out of my not self. So what are you bitter about? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. And I'm actually in the process of writing a post. Some designs are easier than others. Some designs are harder than others. It's not, life isn't fair. And some society will praise parts of your design and then demonize other parts of your design. So some people get a design that's like, oh, wow, this actually kind of works with the way society is set up. And they can, use a lot of their natural gifts to be successful with the way that society works. Cool. Other designs, it's like you didn't get anything that society praises. You got like a very weird design, or you got a very just a design that goes against how society tells you to be successful. So that's one thing I like to look at in my readings and in charts, is like I can really see, oh, this person is going to be really leaning into this part of their design because it's going to be praised, and they're going to be so far away from this part of their design, they're going to be ignoring it or trying to cover it up or put it down, and then they're going to be way out of balance. So the more you get out of your not self, the more you look at your design, you're just like, fuck, I hit the jackpot. I got lucky. I'm still very aware that I could be cranking out a lot more content and doing a lot more things if I was a manifesting generator. But it's not what I'm here for. It's just not. And our design, this is the whole thing of no choice in human design. You hear this, people throw around this no choice. You didn't get to choose who you are. You got the design that you got. You got that you were given this hand, and it's our job to play that hand and to learn how to play that hand. And every hand's a winning hand, if you learn how to play it right and you stop trying to pull a card out of your sleeve that isn't there. So if you have more info, I'd love to know what you don't like about your design. This is one of the awesome questions that I ask people. What do you hate about yourself? When I had autoimmune issues, someone asked me, why do you want to die? And I was like, well, that's dramatic. But then I started to think about the intention behind asking me that question. And it was like, oh my God, my body was like self-destructing because I was not living my purpose. It's like, this is going to be a wasted life if this dude's trying to be the manifesting generator, because he's not going to hack it. He's not going to make it. So let's self-destruct. Let's get out and start over, or let's send him these signals so he wakes the fuck up, which thank God is what happened. Okay. I love that. What do you hate about yourself? That's such an awesome question. All right. Sasha, life coach. Hey. She asks, what about if you want to be a public speaker, but you have an undefined throat? All right. Awesome question. And this is where we get into such muddy waters with people and their designs. If you want to do something, you do it. That's it. Go do the things that you love. Never use human design as an excuse to not do something or to think that you're disadvantaged because of some aspect of your design. We can be realistic about our design. Again, I hate that fucking word realistic. But you can start to just feel for yourself what that's like. But there is no rules of human design. This is called the experiment because we take it and then we can experiment with it and we can see for ourselves what it feels like. Having an undefined throat, I have an undefined throat. I love speaking. I can feel when the energy leaves and my transmission starts getting really shitty and my guidance, the quality starts to go down. That's great. It just means I need time or I'm done, So for you, like where we go to school is in our open centers. Me and you having an open throat, we're here to really learn about communication and manifestation and efficiency in that. So we can become like amazing speakers. We can really play with different voices or, we really know that speaking requires an audience that is listening. So it can, become a huge advantage because we get to experience the different voices and the different energy that lives there. But when you're in the not self, it's all about like, I need to attract attention. I need to always speak, or I need to always get my point across, or I need to. So, where we have an open center, it doesn't mean we don't have it. It just means it's inconsistent for us. So for you to learn your own energy, to learn your own capacity for speaking, when does it feel good and when does it not feel good? Are you doing it too much? Are you overtaxing that center? That's typically where we come into problems, is it just when we're overdoing it there. But man, we are all here to have a powerful voice. It doesn't matter if you have a defined or undefined throat. We can all be, well, maybe not all of us, but of course you can be a public speaker. Of course. So don't ever look at a design, and I was guilty of this at the beginning, and so many people I work with have the same feelings. As we take these as like, we make up these rules to disempower ourselves, just to really, I think it's self-preservation. Oh, I shouldn't go do this, and it scares me, so I'm going to come up with an excuse of like why I shouldn't be able to do this. Ooh, look at human design says I can't be a public speaker because I have an open throat. Good, now I don't have to go public speak now. It's such a, the not self is so good at twisting information to keep yourself small and to keep yourself normal and to keep yourself from living a life where it's not in control anymore and you're standing on a stage public speaking. So thank you so much for that question. I've learned so much about that, and I myself have used human design to say I can't do something, and that is not what this system is for. It's only for, hey, you go live your life in the way that feels good for you. You go do the things that you want, and if it's not working for you, if there's so much bitterness in your life, then we look to human design to see where that's coming from. That's what this is here for, to help you course correct, but it's never here to tell you can or can't do something, no matter what your type is. You go live your life the way that you want. Thanks again for that question. Let me get off Wi-Fi because I think the power just went out.